Beginning.
I will try to sound very excited today.
You okay?
Well, because excited equals louder, so I will just...
Excited equals louder? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got shushed recently, so I'm not sure I should be louder. I'm going to say hello and welcome to our knitting space. This is Jocelyn and Diana of the Northern Knits podcast. We are coming to you from the still terribly too warm Winnipeg, Manitoba, because summer and heat. And summer and heat.
And heat in summer?
Yes. Apologizes for the noises in the background. The boys are doing dishes this weekend. We've got the fan going, so we have some air movement so we don't melt. What was it the Knitmore girl said a couple weeks ago? It's hotter than a pregnant cow?
I don't remember.
I think that's what Jasmine said. Anyway, we're not quite that hot. But
It's not Gabthracking hot.
It's not Gabthracking hot, but it is pretty hot. It was hot enough that I regretted putting tights on under my dress to wear to the bus stop till I got on the bus and the bus had the leather seats. Then I was super happy with the fact I had chosen to wear tights under my dress.
I didn't know we still had buses with leather seats.
Neither did I till I got on one. It was also unair conditioned.
So was mine.
That's just mean. It's just mean, unair conditioned buses.
It really is.
It's not fair. Alright.
Now that we've complained bitterly about the weather, as all good Manitobans do.
I can't wait for winter. I get so excited about winter. I love the clothes, I love the temperature, I love snow, I love hot drinks and beverages, I love mittens and scarves. I like curling
fall.
up under blankets. Fall's okay too.
Because you can do all of those things, but you won't die if you go outside without a jacket for 5 minutes.
Well, I don't die if I go outside with a jacket for 5 minutes. I take out the garbage in January in 3 feet of snow in flip-flops and tank tops. So...
Well, you're a crazy person.
I am. Why don't we tell everybody what we're going to cover today?
Right, we're still doing an intro.
Yes, we are.
This week, we're probably going to remember to cover What's in Our Cup, Woolly Workings, Spinning Yarns, Yarn on the Go, So Little Time, Events, and a book review.
For the record, you're the one who wanted to stay super on target today.
Yeah, that went out the window.
Okay, just so long as we know.
Yeah, no, totally on me.
Alright, well, why don't we start with what we're drinking?
We have this tropical beverage that you spied in the store today.
Mm-hmm.
Simply Tropical?
Simply Tropical. By the, whatever, I think its brand name is
The
so
Simply
simple.
Lemon people.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really tasty. It's a nice balance of pineapple and mango.
Summery.
Not too much of one, not too much of the other. Well, some of them are too mango, and I don't like too much mango.
Fair enough. Some of them are too pineapple, and I don't like that either.
Mm-hmm. Which is good, as I enjoy more of that beverage. And it's tasty. On the bright side, because we're both drinking it, that's quick and easy and done. Love it. Ah, pen clicking. Buttons. Squares, marks.
Well, we are now on to Woolly Workings, and since you seem to be working on something complicated with a chart of X's...
Chart of X's. No.
Would you like to begin?
Sure, because that's not a chart of X's. When I have to do repeats on a pattern, I draw little squares of how many times I have to do the repeat, and then every time I start a repeat, I X off a box. And then when I'm out of boxes, I'm done my repeats.
That makes sense.
Otherwise, I'll forget how many repeats I have left to go, and why make my life harder for myself than I have to. Make it easy.
That makes complete and total sense. But it means you do have a chart full of X's.
I have a chart full of X's. Technically, you are correct. This week I've been working on things. I'm currently working on my bendy arrow shawl, which is the shawl with the pattern with the X's, which explains that process. And I finished an object as well this week.
Showing me up.
I am. Well, I don't know if you guys are attached to the internet. I'm attached to the internet. There's this thing called the Wonder Woman shawl that's big on the internet. Diana showed it to me, and I went, I have to make that. I'm not allowed to start another project till I finish something.
And you have now finished something.
I finished the first Christmas present of 2017. So if everybody remembers last week, I casted on the Lost Souls Shawl by Marionette. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's very beautiful. She did it in a black. I did it in baby pink. In the Bernay Premium Pink yarn for my sister for Christmas. She knows she's getting it. I showed her the shawl pattern. She picked the color of yarn, and it is now done. And you will not be overly shocked or surprised if the episode title photo is Diana wearing this on her head, because that's probably going to happen. It is a crochet pattern, not a knitting pattern. But it turned out really pretty. I mean, I gotta block it. Like, I seriously have to. Some of these skulls are...
I love the expressions that the unblocked skulls are making.
I'm going to take some photos of the unblocked skulls and then take photos of the blocked skulls to show the difference for everybody, but yeah, like some of these guys are very quizzical. Some of them look like they're sleeping. Some of them look like they're about to be murderated. One of these dudes look really angry because his jaw's a little crooked right now. Like, he looks really mad.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it is finished. It is about the same size as my coffee shop shawl, so we're looking at standard worsted weight size, I'm going to say. I'll do the finished dimensions after blocking, so.
As it stands, it's almost your entire wingspan.
We're getting close. It's pretty much there. I wouldn't say it's not a full 55 inches, but I would, because like my elbows are still there, but I'd say we're in that 40 inch range quite easily.
Yeah.
So I'll do measurements after I block it. Everything I've been completing for Stash Dash, which by the way, this is another huge chunk of meterage for that said event, is literally sitting on a pile on a chair. All of August, can you guys guess what I'm doing? Washing and blocking things. And posting photographs, because we all know I'm really bad at that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really bad at that.
That's okay, I'm bad at finishing things.
I'm not bad at that. That I accomplish. And I love that I can actually get that done. I feel really proud about myself for that.
I can take pretty pictures of the stuff I haven't finished yet.
Oh, wonderful! I have a couple of other things. How many things have you been working on this week? Since I already mentioned 2.
2 plus spinning.
2 plus spinning, okay. Well, we'll throw out the quick. I'm still working on the 365 days of granny squares for myself for the year. Again, and as always, I am using the Red Heart soft yarn because I don't know what I'm going to be turning these into, so acrylic makes the most sense, since I also don't know if I'll be gifting them out. And I like to make gift knits easy to care for.
That makes complete sense.
Everybody has the time to hand wash and hang dry, and I don't think they shouldn't have knits, and there are amazing acrylics out there, so I have no problems with this. Red Heart is a company brand that I like working with. I have been working in continuing progress with that every day. I watch a YouTube video by, mental lapse.
Nadia?
Yes, Nadia of Yarn Utopia.
Yes.
So I've been doing those videos every day as I continue. Again, I'm not tracking numbers. I get up in the morning, I watch the next video, and I move on. I'm well into 3 digits. I'm not going to get excited till I get down to like the last 60 and I'm counting down because, oh my goodness, I am over a half a year in and I am ready to be finished with this.
You've got to
be so excited
like
when I'm finished.
170 of these things.
I could do the math. 6. What do we got? We've done 6 months so far? We're into the 6th month?
We're into the 7th month.
Can't add
50, 180, so you got to be up close to 200 even.
Yeah, well, I would have been 180-ish at the end of the 5th month, and if we're into the... Yeah, I'm over 200.
I have 60.
Okay. Listen, when I say I'm going to do something, it means I'm going to do something.
Yeah, not in my hobbies. At work, yes. Not in my hobbies.
I'm beginning to find it's across the board with everything, but I say yes to too much, and then I run out of time, so I either have to sacrifice sleep, or something doesn't happen, and I'm generally not a fan of sacrificing sleep anymore. I'm no longer 22. Going on 4 hours of sleep is not as fun as it used to be.
Fancy that.
Who knew? What have you been working on?
Yeah.
It's all been me.
I have been very monogamous this week.
Oh my.
I have put like 3, almost 4 inches on my textured triangle shawl.
Oh, that's good.
And it doesn't feel like it's getting any bigger, and the yarn ball doesn't seem like it's getting any smaller.
You need to get yourself some progress keepers.
Well, I know it's the green stripe.
Well,
here,
yeah.
So it just... Rows take so freaking long now. They're like 400 stitches.
Yes, they do.
Anyway, this is the textured triangle, as I do that stitch incorrectly. This is the textured triangle shawl by Diane Moyer that we were doing as a knit-along back in May.
Mm-hmm.
that I still haven't finished.
I finished my first one.
You've nearly done 3 of them now at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still working on my first one. In my defense, it was technically finished a couple of weeks ago. I am now just adding on to the pattern by starting at the beginning again because I had a bunch of yarn left over.
Right on.
And I'm doing it out of Red Heart Soft Classic in Dark Leaf and Wheat.
It's a really pretty color combo. I have also been working on a textured triangle shawl. My third. I'm calling it my extra large triangle shawl. Mostly because I repeated a bunch of pattern sections because I wanted to make it bigger in the bulky weight. So like this thing is
massive,
huge. I had to slow down because I had to go pick up some more white in the Red Heart Essential Soft, which I picked up. So that's fine. I need to pick it up, and I'm literally doing the Section 4 lace section. Again, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. That until I essentially run out of white. And I got
like
2 more balls of white, so I should be able to get a good chunk of white at the bottom of the shawl, which works because I've got good chunks of color from the Lion Brand loops or Lion Brand landscapes yarn that I've been using as my color blocker. So there's a really nice strong contrast between the Sahara Desert and the white lace sections. So it looks really good. And it is going to be massive and wonderful, and I can't wait, but I am well over way too many stitches.
Yep.
More stitches than I want to count. Because I did sections 1, 2, and 3, and then I've just redone sections 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm on to section 4.
I'm just tootling along here. Section 1.
I think if I do it again, it is entirely possible I will do it again at some point.
You really like this shawl, my goodness.
It's a really easy pick up and watch TV knit. I know the pattern, I don't have to watch what I'm doing, and I can just go.
My goodness.
I'll do a repeat, like I'll do section 1, section 1, section 2, section 2, section 3, section 3, and then section 4. Change the repeats up to see what that does.
That works, yeah.
Again, worst case scenario, I do it in acrylic yarn and I give it away as a gift. Oh no! That's a problem for me.
Terrible.
Terrible situations. I think I only have one other thing that I've been working on.
I also have one other thing that I kind of worked on.
Kind of worked on? What did you kind of work on?
I did half a row on my wedding shawl. I only did half a row because I sat down to do it, and I got half a row in, and the small humans showed up at the lake.
Oh no!
And chaos
ensued,
so I put it away.
Yep.
And I haven't had a chance to get that back out because that was just yesterday.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it happens because small kids. It's a thing.
They are adorable small humans, and I love them, but I cannot knit around them.
No, they don't have knitting in their regular life a bunch of the time, so for them it's a very fascinating process, I'd imagine.
It's fairly fascinating for everybody. It's just they want to talk to me, and they want me to play, and they want me to be doing things that are not knitting.
Yes.
So I don't get to do much knitting.
Well, you've proven that you will put down your knitting for them.
Yes. I didn't have to read Count to 10 this weekend. I was really happy.
That's exciting. That's really exciting, because you've been reading that book a lot.
I only had to read Green Hat, Blue Hat a few times.
That's not too bad. It's a good break from Count to 10.
For reference, the 2 years old?
Yes. Well, is she 2 or she 1?
Definitely at least 2.
Yes.
Anyway, regardless, she, a few weeks ago, was super into the Sesame Street Count to 10 book. And reading books to children is among my favorite things on the face of the earth. So I read that book.
You're signing up for when you read a book to children. If it's their favorite book, you read it all the time.
My limit is 3 times in a row, and then we have to read something else.
Okay.
But then half an hour later,
it's the same book again.
Yeah, it's the same book again.
I got really lucky and blessed when my niece went through that stage. I was taking believe it or not, when my sister came home with her baby. And you have to understand, my niece is 10, so this was
a lot of
many years ago now, I can say that.
Eons ago, and ages bygone.
When the dinosaurs ruled the planet. And I was a young woman. My sister came home and she said one of the nurses had been talking to her about vocabulary in children and that children absorb a lot of words well before they start speaking them.
I believe
So
that.
the idea was to expose your baby to language and to different vocabulary pieces and sort of like let them absorb as much as they could. So my sister, being my sister, came home, took her baby out of the baby carrier. Everyone was settling in, everybody had oohed and awed of the child. The great-grandparents had gone home. She was living with my parents at the time. We sat down, she handed the baby to me and said, I'm told babies learn languages, and they learn it through absorbing. I'm like, okay, why am I holding my niece? Like, freshly home from the hospital niece. She's like, talk. I'm like, excuse me? So the running gag has been whenever she was little and she was sick, or she was fussy, or she wouldn't settle down, and I was anywhere within the vicinity, I was supposed to talk to the baby. 2-year-old toddler, 3-year-old, especially with head colds, because you can't sleep, you're uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I went to university at the time. I wasn't going to stop studying to help be a heat source for my niece so my sister could get a break and have a sleep, or, so the adults could also, who at that point probably also had head colds, could relax. I read her my textbooks.
That's a lot of language.
It's a lot of language. By the time she was about 4, she'd really attached herself to one book I had in one of my classes, which was a color-printed copy of the Bayeux Tapestry. Now, the Bayeux Tapestry is a very, very, very big, long, hey, look, it's even fiber-related, because it is a woven tapestry across the pond that tells a depiction of the Battle of 1066. Isabella's 4 at this point in my life. She knows the pictures have horses, men are shooting arrows, and some of the dudes have lied down because they're dead. It's the depiction of the dead people with arrows sticking out, right? And that there's mythical creatures in the borderlines and stuff. So cool. She would tell me stories out of that book for hours at a time when I was studying this. She still asks to tell stories out of the Bayeux Tapestry. There's no words. It is a tapestry. It tells it in the form of pictures. So we open up the book, and that's what she did. So by the time we got to that stage where it was all the book at the same time all the time, she was reading to me. It just happened to be about different colored legs on horses and dudes who sat on castles. But, no, it's fine.
I bet they were different stories every time.
Every time, not the same story.
Wow.
Now, her papa, on the other hand...
Oh dear, what did he get subjected to?
Lots of Disney princess stories, and he had to read them all of the time. She's 10, and whenever Papa's in town, he still kind of has to read her a bedtime story.
Right.
And I can't blame her. My father reads amazing bedtime stories. I'm in my 30s. I still sit down and listen to him read bedtime stories to my niece because it's that good. So, this is not an issue for me. But I completely understand.
Yeah, we were talking about knitting a while ago.
We were. Technically, I segued into a woven item.
Yep.
I just happen to have a book version of.
That
The
works.
only other thing I worked on was my the bendy arrow shawl, which I mentioned before. I'm doing it on the summer silk yarn from Barocco and the poison colorway from Hedgehog Fibers and their sock base. Because fingering weight shawls are apparently something that I feel that I need to do all the time right now.
It's a summery thing.
Well, it's definitely lighter on my lap than the other stuff I've been doing, so yeah, I'll take it. But that's all our woolly workings, I think. Unless you have more.
This mountain of... It's not even a mountain. This unsatisfyingly large pile of shawl.
Ugh, and an unair-conditioned apartment. You must be crazy.
Yep. Anyway, we were going to talk about... Oh yeah, spinning yarns.
Spinning yarns. That's mostly you.
I've been doing so much spinning.
You have.
It is Tour de Fleece. And
People have not been following us on Instagram, they should, because there's a wonderful video of you using your car adapter to use your electric spinning wheel in the car.
So I was making fun of the fact that my electric eel wheel came with a car adapter. Like, when would you ever use that? This is so dumb. This is ridiculous. This is blah, blah, blah.
Now you know.
So, heading out to the lake on Friday night. And I managed to not have to drive, so hey, I have this car adapter and I really want to spin. Guilt, sheepish,
yep.
sheepish.
Oh, now you know why it's there.
So I have now done spinning while going down the highway,
Yeah, why not?
and there's video to prove it.
There is. It's on the Instagrams.
Featuring, besides the spinning wheel, it features my fiance.
Yes, it does. It features a Chris driving.
It does.
It's a thing. The only thing I've really got to contribute to spinning is I am really good at dropping the drop spindle. Mastered that part of it.
Gravity still works.
Gravity works exceptionally well, guys. I know it takes time and it takes practice, and I'm learning, and that's the point. Yeah. We're almost at the point where I'm kind of sort of making fibre, maybe?
Maybe?
Mostly I'm dropping the drop spindle on the floor. It works.
Have you tried the...
I'm sorry, I'm super distracted because they're gesturing as a form of communication over there. I'm trying to see if their secret brother language is kicked in.
I don't remember what we were talking about.
I was talking about how good I was at dropping on the drop spindle section.
And I was going to ask if you had tried the park and draft method, I think it's called.
Not yet. It is on the list this week. I would like to try to see if I'm any better at it.
It helps to eliminate the dropping of the spindle.
Which, I'm sure the cat would appreciate, because I've startled Pandora a couple of times with the dropping of the spindle. She's not particularly fond of me when I do that. She expresses concern by meowing at me. Angrily, because I've usually disturbed her while she's napping beside me on the couch.
Right.
I get told off. It's a thing that happens to me. But no, as far as spinning goes, slowly but surely, I am learning. I'm enjoying the learning process. I enjoy learning things. And I'm having a bit of fun, so it works for me.
Today is a rest day in Tour de Fleece. I haven't done any spinning today, and I probably won't.
I didn't do any spinning yesterday, so I did a bit this morning.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Technically, I took it yesterday, so that's fine. Alright, I think that's it for spinning for me. I haven't gotten that far into it.
I did spinning in the car, and I did spinning outside at the lake with my electric spinning wheel. They conveniently have outlets on the deck.
Nice!
So I got to sit outside, and I made friends with a little jumping spider I discovered. That was... so while I was trying to deal with the jumping spider and prevent it from jumping onto the moving bobbin, I got the poop scared out of me by a squirrel that snuck up right beside me, and then it skittered on the wood. And... oh my goodness!
So what you were saying is it was stressful to spin in nature.
Oh, and then I had a pleasant little conversation with a little bird that went meep.
Oh geez! All sorts of excitement happening for you.
Yeah, I was making all the woodland creature friends.
I trimmed herbs out of the garden today. No, this weekend? Yeah, this weekend. And discovered a ginormous caterpillar.
Ooh.
I was able to spot it at a distance, which tells you how big this caterpillar was.
That's very large.
It's a very big caterpillar. So, I don't know, but it was on my parsley.
I guess he likes parsley.
Guess he likes parsley. Wasn't doing any damage to the plant, so I kind of just left him there. I don't know what you're doing, buddy, but you seem to be happy, and you're not harming my parsley, so go for it. Whatever. You're big enough, I'll spot you. There's a couple of smaller ones I had to remove just because I wanted to, get herbs.
Yeah.
That was the point of going out to the herb garden, to cut herbs. The first herbs of the season are off on dehydrated, so nice. I have fresh herbs in my kitchen again for the year.
I discovered 2 things yesterday.
What's that?
1, my pepper plant outside is infested with aphids.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a pain in the butt.
2, on the inside of the window, I discovered a ladybug that was still alive. So I put him on the pepper plant.
Okay.
So, problem solved.
Problem solved?
I think. I don't know, I haven't checked yet today.
Alright, that's a thing for you. There are no aphids on my pepper plants, so we look to be okay right now. I'll take it. Hey, it could be worse. But yeah, that's it for spinning, and apparently gardening.
Bonus gardening!
Bonus gardening! What section do we have next?
Up next we have... Yarn on the Go.
Well, at the risk of a spoiler, I think you took your yarn to the lake this weekend.
I may have taken my yarn to the lake this week. And?
Yeah.
I may have even done some spinning on my way to the lake this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, we may have mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, it was just a whole lot of textured triangle shawl while... Everybody brought books and, solo hobbies to do, and we brought movies out and stuff to watch. we just sat around and drank tea and talked for basically the entire weekend.
Nice.
My parents came out too.
Oh, well, that's nice.
So it's the significant other's parents' cabin.
Okay.
But they extended the invitation to my parents as well for the weekend. So
wonderful.
It was, the two sets of parents and me and Chris.
Yeah. And
Yes.
your sister-in-law and
Yeah, they came out
sister-in-law
on.
to be and
Yeah, they came out on the Sunday.
Okay.
So they showed up kind of about 4:00 Sunday when we were packing up to leave,
okay.
which was always the plan.
That makes sense.
So I believe they should be just coming back from there about now.
Well, wonderful. We were in town on the weekend. Mr. B works weekends. That's the nature of his job in the summertime. So we generally don't go out to the cabin or lake.
That's good, because I've taken over his green cup and his bed.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's the nature of his work. It is what it is. I have a tendency to spend my weekends with my niece gardening and taking her to the pool that's by our house. So
Oh, that must be amazing having a pool that close to your house.
yeah, it's about a 5-minute walk to the city pool from our house. So no, and come the fall, we're gonna have either fall or winter. Probably closer to winter, we'll have a public library within about 10 minutes too by foot.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful little section of suburbia to live in. It's really nice and close to a lot of stuff. And the pool just got refurbished 2 years ago, so it's nice and big and it's all freshly concreted and stuff. So, and the inside got updated too, so
It looks nice.
it's wonderful. I love to go and suntan and listen to audiobooks and watch my niece run around with her friends. Because when all the parents on the block learn that I'm taking my niece to the thing, all of a sudden my one niece becomes a horde of small children under the age of 12 that travel with me. They all know how to swim.
I was gonna say, it seems slightly ironic getting the visually impaired person to watch all the children.
They're from 8 to 13.
They're fairly self-sufficient.
Yeah, at
And
this
probably
point,
won't drown.
they've all done their swimming lessons. They all know how to swim. That's my rule. You have to have done your swimming lessons and you have to be able to swim, or I won't take you with me. Because while I could rescue you, I have been a lifeguard in the past, and that was when I was a teenager. And I generally don't want to have to move that fast anymore. I'm comfortable being slow. Don't mind this anymore. So no, that's fine. For the most part, they like to run around on the grass stuff that's over beside the pool and play in the parks and that. And they swim a bit, and then they sit out and eat a lot of candy and stuff out of the cooler, because they've learned I like to travel to swimming pools and beaches with a copiously large amount of freezies. I use the freezies as ice box, so
That's smart.
it keeps the Koopa and cheese and crackers cold, so they can have snack pack crackers, and then I have really cold drinks and bottles of frozen water and freezies in there to keep everything chill. So there's always cold water to drink, there's always freezies to drink, so
Well, aren't you efficient?
I do know how to survive the summer. I may have only lived in this province for almost 2 decades now. And
Think you
down
figured it
south, I think I figured out how to survive summers at this point, because it gets hot, guys. So, no, that's my yarn on the go is it just travels with me to the beach right now. And my beach is the summer pool. Or Diana's house. It comes with me to your house all the time.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm really a destination anymore.
I'm not sure. Maybe? Yeah, we'll say you're a destination. It goes with me to the library, too, so...
I feel like the library is more of a destination.
Well, sometimes I have to sit down and stop looking at things, so I'll sit and read in the middle of the knitting aisle. I'll be done looking at books, so I'll sit and knit a couple of rows. Librarians know me, they know what I'm doing, so they walk by and ask me what I'm working on. Make friends, randomly stop at coffee shops. I have friends all over the city, so I'm like, hey, I'm in this area of the city, and they're like, sweet, let's go for lunch. Okay, so I go for knit for lunch, and it works. That's my lifestyle, and I'm happy with it. Needless to say, the bendy arrow has been all over the place in the city right now.
Well-traveled shawl.
It's fingering weight, which I'm discovering is great for traveling, because I have yet to start socks. Though, that brings to mind a challenge for next year for you and me, I think that we could do.
What?
Desert Vista does a challenge where if you knit a pair of socks out of the Desert Vista yarns, which are freaking gorgeous striped socks.
Okay.
Every month, you do it for like 6 months, you get a reward. You do it for more months than that, you get a reward. And I think I want to do a pair of socks a month next year out of the Desert Vista Dye Works.
We shall have to discuss this more off air.
The knit girls do it, and I'm loving the colorways and the socks that they're making, and I could just do strain plain vanilla socks, which I enjoy, in bright super bold, crazy striped pattern colors.
That is my favorite kind of sock.
I
Not that I've
know.
tried a more complicated sock, but I'm really loving the vanilla sock with bright colors at the moment.
I know. So, something we gotta discuss off air. I'm already planning 2018, guys.
In terms of traveling, my Find Your Fade shawl that's already made up of yarn from several different countries. I've decided that's going to be my travel project when I go to DEF CON.
That makes sense. So you can work on it because the end date for that is the 31st of August.
Yep.
I gotta be done the Bendy Arrow shawl shortly because I gotta start that one.
I figure it's something that's easy to memorize, and I'll only have to bring one extra skein of yarn with me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Won't be much larger than a pair of socks, even if I finish the whole thing that I bring with me. We are on to So Little Time.
We are. It's me!
It is all you. I still haven't learned how to sew yet.
That's fine. It's
We'll
not a
get there.
hobby for everybody. I know what we forgot to mention in Yarn on the Go. Backtrack. We're not done Yarn on the Go. I had yarn come to me.
Oh, derp, yeah. This was so exciting.
Acquisitioning more stash. No, I wasn't. More events about the the summer Zadie sweater knit along, because that's where that belongs and lives. But the yarn showed up, guys. I was so excited, and I know I posted a picture on Instagram, and I know I told everybody, but Diana hasn't seen it in person.
It's so pretty in person. Can I touch?
Absolutely. It's a slate
Ooh.
gray color, which is just deep enough color-wise that it's going to look really good in the fall. Now, I was thinking the brown or like a purple or something. I ended up going into the gray because I was talking to my mom while we were ordering, because my mom paid for this for me, so I could do it.
That's lovely.
And she said, go gray, because all of my shawls and my scarves and my tights and my pants and my shirts are all really violently, brightly colored. And this will give me a nice, good stock sweater that will go with all of it. I agreed. So my little box of yarn showed up with an extra present. They threw in a little thing of their quilting cotton.
Oh, cute.
A little stack of pre-cut squares for me to experiment with and try. So if I like it, I might order some of their cottons for the Etsy shop.
Nice.
Because it's really nice. The other thing...
This yarn, it's like
Yeah.
toothy. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's not toothy, but it's like, it's woolly.
Yes.
So like it feels woolly, but it's not scratchy.
It's not scratchy, which
like,
I'm
it's
super...
not scratchy at all.
It's the Cloudborne fiber, which I've never worked at it before, so
It's not
if it
scratchy.
if it works as well as what the reviews are for it, this is going to become my sweater yarn in the worsted weight because it is freaking gorgeous and it's got that wool in it, so it's going to be warm. But it doesn't have that itch to
lovely.
it, so if I just want to wear a tank top on underneath in the fall
Yeah.
and throw it on with my jeggings and stuff and a pair of boots and I'm out the door
Absolutely.
with a vest, poofy vest, the Michelin Man poofy vest, everybody.
Absolutely.
And then that's perfect, and it's going to work really well on the boxy sweater. I have double checked the math. I have my needles. It says the pattern says it's got like 4 inches of ease
Okay.
to it, and it's a boxy sweater. So I'm going to make it a bit smaller so I can make it longer because I like a bit more of a fitted sweater. So I don't want to have
That makes sense.
that shape. So I'm going to bring in the size. I've brought in the size a bit, just down one size. So I've got the extra length that I need at my height. But with 4 inches positive ease, I'm still 2 inches into my regular size. So it'll be fitted around the girls, but it won't really be fitted anywhere else, math-wise, which is exactly what I'm looking for, because otherwise I generally look like a very large 5'10" box, which is not super attractive on my frame. It just isn't.
Fair enough.
So I'm doing that. And then I went and I picked up the yawl for the Mammoth Shawl. If you girls remember, I am test knitting the Mammoth Shawl done by the Stitchin' Sisters. So I picked up, they said to go with your imagination, and again, because it's a really huge cabled shawl, I think my mom might like it, I went to the Bernay Premium, because it's a wonderful acrylic. And I wanted to see how it would handle at that size. So I went and I picked up a Bernay Premium Tweed.
It looks lovely. That's gonna cable so nice.
It's going to cable up beautifully. And in an effort to keep it cool in here, we've turned off most of the lights. So it's an Aran tweed, but it's like an off-white cream with the little, brown flecks for the tweed?
Brown and black?
Brown
Light
and black.
brown, dark brown? It's hard to tell in this light.
It is. But I picked up all the skeins I needed for that and a bit of extra for comfort. And because there's no dye lots, if my mom likes it and it accidentally disappears, I can just make it again for myself.
That's lovely.
So it's very beautiful.
I'm excited to see this. It's gonna be so pretty.
I'm a huge fan of the Bernay Premium yarn. It's a wonderful acrylic. It washes and wears amazingly well, and once you've washed it and blocked it, it fluffs up really nicely, which seems counterintuitive because acrylic yarns aren't supposed to really change, but that coffee shop shawl got even softer after its first soak and wash. So it's wearing really well, and I really like it. And again, because my shawls go outside, I wear them in public, and I wear them around a lot. I like to have something that's a bit hardier for the wintertime.
Yep.
There's salt, there's a lot of stuff floating around.
And there's grit and
everywhere.
dirt and sand. And
something that can be a little tougher on when I'm washing is my preference for my winter weight shawls and my heavier stuff. So
makes sense.
Now we can segue back into the So Little Time. And it was the So Little Time that reminded me, because I remember those little quilting squares. I was like, wait a minute, we forgot stuff.
Okay, so restart So Little Time.
Go! Guess who didn't stick to her word and hasn't finished her Etsy shop? Me!
So I will finish something when you start your Etsy shop.
Oh, gosh, I hope not. I was going to do the last of the photographs I had to do today, and I got distracted with other work. So that's fine. Not the end of the world. It's still going up. I'm still working on things. I just picked up a pattern for a really good oversized tote bag. And in my mind, every knitter needs a really good oversized tote bag.
Well, obviously.
For knit nights. For storing your knitting in the trunk when you're going away and you're going to the cabin or lake or you're going to the beach for the day. Things that you can use but aren't already dedicated to something else. Reusable shopping bags.
That's what I'm using.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, I like them in like canvas or cotton cloth, so something you can bring home and wash.
Yeah.
It's sturdy enough that it's going to hold and support everything. So I found the pattern I like, so I'm going to start making some of those too, because I think that's really good. I also found stuff for progress keepers and stitch markers.
Nice.
So I'm going to start working on those too. So
definitely need some progress keepers.
Yes.
I will test out your shop wares for you.
Oh, you will you? Oh, that's
yes,
wonderful.
or I can provide some in progress projects to photograph.
To photograph?
Yeah.
We might take you up on that one. But that's it for my So Little Time.
Events.
Let's
start with the things that are already going.
Sure, why not?
Stash Dash is going.
It is.
I'm doing poorly. My goal wasn't even a distance, it was just to finish things that I had on my needles.
I'm not doing so bad.
I have not finished anything since I finished my dad's socks back in June.
Oh my. Okay, so at the end of this week I'll have another finished item. So I'm not doing too bad at all. Which puts me at 1, 2, almost, yeah, because the big one will be that starting point shawl if the yarn comes in before the end of Stash Dash. I'll have to dedicate a week to that, and then I'll have over 1,500 meters in that, so that's a big one. But I've got, the first textured triangle shawl, the extra large one should be done this week. I just finished the crochet thing. I'm going to have the bendy arrow done by the end of the month, because I want to move on to the Find Your Fade, because I got to do the Find Your Fade in August, because I got to have it in for that knit along, so I'm not doing too bad. I think it really depends on if I get that yarn in for the starting point shawl. If that shows up sometime by at least mid-August at the latest, like the week before Stash Dash closes, I think the 7K is okay, but I think I'm going to have to go with the 5K just in case it doesn't show up. So I think that's just a limitation of... My yarn isn't here, guys. But I'm feeling comfortable with that 5K goal I'd initially set. I would probably feel a bit more comfortable with the 7K, but I'm waiting on yarn.
That's totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
Things also going on right now. Tour de Fleece is happening.
It is. We're both participating unofficially.
Yes. My goal was simply to spin every day that you're supposed to spin.
Yep.
Which I have been doing so far, and I'm actually getting reasonably okay.
Woohoo!
I can almost spin it consistently. At the very least, I'm only breaking the yarn every 3 days instead of every few minutes.
Hey, that's a big improvement.
Yeah.
Mine was to pick up spinning and start learning, which I have done. So technically, I have already successfully completed Tour de Fleece.
I don't know. I think you need to get some successful fibre out of there first.
I'm going to keep going till the 23rd and see if I can get some successful fibre. If not, I'm still considering it a success because I've picked up and I'm starting to learn how to spin. And I'm learning my tension, I'm learning, the gauge, the attenuated draws, my terminology's a lot better than it was, and choosing to do it on the drop spindle was definitely the right call. It's a lot slower, it's a lot easier for me to manage and see what I'm working on, and it's a lot more approachable for me. Don't get me wrong, I would love to at some point move up to like an electric wheel. But that's
for counting.
Well, I'm counting. But I think that's personal preference for me. That I didn't know if it would go slow enough to be slow, but I watch yours, and while I'll never be a fast spinner, I think some of those slow settings would be okay for me. So.
Yeah, I think like the slowest setting is like almost too slow to be useful.
Yes.
So it can go as slow as you need up to nuclear.
Well, at some point, maybe nuclear. I like the idea of being able to spin my own yarn every once in a while because I enjoy it and it's fun.
I'm really liking it. I might call myself.
What did you say it was? It hits your dopamine button really well.
Well, because it's super satisfying to watch all these pretty colors spin together into this yarn, and it winds on the thing, and it's just all very satisfying to watch.
It's quite relaxing to do.
It is.
I've got that ergonomic earworm stuck in my head where it's hips and knees at 90 degrees and feet flat on the floor.
Well, that's going to be stuck in my head, thanks.
You're welcome. It's really handy, it's really good, and it makes a lot of sense. So, I'm not against using everything at my disposal or learning stuff to make whatever it is I'm doing easier on my body.
Fair enough.
Because I only get one body. And
Meh.
I hate to have to stop knitting and spinning because I was doing something that wasn't helping my body and harming it. That would suck more.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm okay with these little earworms and stuff. Can you guys tell that I'm a huge Knit More Girls fan? I'm a huge podcast fan. What was I saying? I have 38 audio podcasts and I follow over 50 YouTubers. And I am not behind on a single thing this week. Not behind.
I've been behind on everything for like the last month and a half.
I am fully caught up. Now I have a couple of new podcasts that are going on my thing this week. I don't count them because I haven't subscribed to them yet and I haven't listened to them to see if I enjoy them on their own. And I don't count any new YouTubers I may or may not find this week because I follow links and suggestions. I'm one of those people. By the way, if you've got a podcast or a YouTube channel you think I should be watching, please message the Northern Knits podcast at gmail.com. Tell me. I'd love to know. There's always room for more audio in my life. It's how I get through so many books in a month. People are like, how do you read so much? Audiobooks, e-books, physical books, all the books. Well, if you think about it, I can listen to an audiobook and knit at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. I knit while editing this podcast. I do admin work while moderating your Twitch stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about doing more than one thing at a time. And not sleeping because there's a 10-year-old above you.
Yep.
When she gets up in the morning, she kind of falls out of bed at this point, so it is a very loud da-dunk.
And we're up.
And we're off to the races. Might as well get up. The world is not going to be silent anymore. She gets up and she's excited and it's the morning and the dogs are up and they're excited and it's the morning and I live in the basement. So I'm up because it's time for the day to start.
Fair enough. That was a long deviation from Tour de Fleece. My goodness, we're still on that? Okay, so...
We are.
Other things going on. You have the Grocery Girls... the sweater knit-along and the make-along.
There is a make-along. The summer Zadie sweater knit-along is in conjunction with Craftsy. I'm going to blow through it really quickly. I have my yarn. The pattern's prepped and ready to go. The needles are set aside. I am not allowed to start it till I'm done my extra large triangle shawl, which will be sometime in the next day or so. And then the sweater will be casted on. And we are off to the races. Mostly because it's super easy and a really wonderful quick knit. Bottom up and away and we're good and we're done. Beautiful. I expect the body to be done in a week, 2 tops.
Wow. You're just putting me to shame.
well, I want to get it done and I want to have it and I want to participate and stuff. So the other one is the Make Along, which is to celebrate the Grocery Girls YouTube channel is celebrating Canada's 150th birthday this summer. So I am going to participate in that. And since it's a Make Along, there's a lot of options. I have picked up a toque, which I would like to make, and I have...
There was some quiet sneaking occurring.
Oh my goodness, that was cute. And I have a couple of other patterns that are not Canadian, but I have some that are Canadian. And I have things on the go and stuff I haven't bought yarn for yet that I'm going to buy Canadian yarn for. One of them is my Find Your Fade shawl. So my Find Your Fade shawl is going to be partially out of the Uruguay yarn. The Mano de Uruguay? Manos de Uruguay.
I think there's an L in there somewhere. Manos del Uruguay? Uruguay? I don't know.
It's an amazing company. They work with women, mostly, and do fair trade. So on every skein of yarn you get where it's made and what it's spinned from. And I get it in the Algria yarn, which is the type of yarn. It's a wonderful fingering weight. I've got two of the 5 or 7 skeins I need for my Find Your Fade shawl. I'm going to pick up the other ones in Canadian dyers, so like Sea Turtle Fiber Arts, or probably it'd be a word of a lie to say I'm not going to order some ancient art yarns for it, because I am a massive fan of ancient art yarns.
Mm-hmm.
Cloud9 Fiber Dye Works here in Manitoba just did a post update that she's dyeing more stuff, so like some of that might be hers as well. So you get an entry for everything you do that is part of the Canadian theme. So I want to do the Alberta Frost Mitts, which would get me an entry, 2 entries, because it has Alberta, which is Canadian, in the name. It's by Canadian designers, so if I do it out of a Canadian yarn, that's 3 entries in one project. And a pair of mittens takes hours.
Depending on the weight of yarn?
Yeah.
Yeah, even a fingering weight mitten you can do in a week.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I'll be doing mine in a worsted weight because I like to have a bit of a chunkier mitten. And it's a double-lined mitten, so it might be fingering on the inside.
That's a color work mitten?
Yes, it is a color work mitten. Yeah.
Mm.
So, and they're
That'll be
thinking about
toasty.
coming out with a hat pattern that matches it, which I will totally also do as well. So, like, if I do that, that's 3, and that's a week's worth of knitting. Okay, well, that's easy enough to do.
I need more knitting time.
I think it's just super segue because I was a training manager and I work upper level management. I'm really used to utilizing small chunks of time repetitively to get stuff done. So while it seems like I do a lot of stuff, it's always in little bits and pieces.
I guess.
Because I'm not used to. I also forget to eat. Like, I'm not the person.
I don't forget to eat and I don't forget to sleep.
I will forget to eat. I won't go to bed on time. I will put my phone down and lose half a day. If I start a book at 8 o'clock at night, I'm reading till 5 in the morning because I've lost track of time. And I'm into the book.
And I have this stupid 9-to-5 job, so I can't afford to do that.
Do you know what? Even when I had the 9-to-5 job, I still got lost in my book and read till dawn and then went, aw, dude, work's gonna suck. But those are the 2 Grocery Girls knit along and the make along that I'm doing. Pardon me while I blow my nose. My allergies are pretty much under control.
Everything's pollened that's going to?
Most of it. I got your late bloomers, but otherwise I'm pretty much done sounding like a snifflers. It's fine. It's how it works. What other events do we got going on?
In other fibery goodness, the local yarn shop Woolsley Wool is doing the Faded Summer Knit Along.
Which we're both participating in.
Yes, we are both knitting the Find Your Fade shawl. I think we've already talked about that lots.
We have. I've talked about my yarn because I'm using it to double dip into the summer make along as well.
Right. I think I already talked about mine too.
Well, I know you're doing it out of the yarn that you picked up from places you've traveled.
Yes. I'm currently working on the leftovers of some yarn from San Francisco.
Absolutely.
For the first bit. I will transition into some sparkle sock yarn from London.
Shortly.
As in London, England.
Mm-hmm.
The color after that is the skein I bought here at home.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're calling it your there and back again shawl.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was some Alegria from Wolseley Wool to make it count for their knit along.
Yeah.
That transitions into some Hedgehog Fibers sock that I got in Dublin, Ireland. And that will transition into some... Can I remember the yarn name? No, I don't. Some yarn that I got at Pearlescence like 4 days before I closed in San Jose.
Why not? Do it up. I think that's wonderful.
I was
It looks
conveniently
good.
there for a business trip 4 days before it closed, so...
Super jealous. Yeah, no, the colors look amazing, so I can't wait to see it all knit up. You gotta be done. You gotta be done by the 31st.
I'm so freaking excited. It's the only project that I'm gonna take with me when I go to DEF CON, and
Okay.
I have 4 plane trips.
So yeah, you should be able to
And
make some
layovers.
monstrous progress. There's the word I'm looking for on that bad boy, which is amazing.
It's simple enough that I can knit while I'm standing in line.
Which is perfect.
Because there's a lot of standing in line.
Oh yeah, when you're traveling. And if you're traveling internationally, there's a lot of standing in line.
I'm traveling internationally.
Yep, it's a thing.
It's just to the States, though, and they're pretty okay with Canadians.
Which is good. Alright. What else are we doing this year? That's not all. We're doing more.
Of course we're doing more.
Mm-hmm.
For other fiber things, it's just the Manitoba Fiber Festival in September.
God, I can't wait for that.
Where we will spend all of our money.
Oh, and then some.
And then some. And fill all of the trunk space. And then some.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm liking this idea about seeing if we can get you a car for one of the...
Yeah.
For those days, just so we can just go nuts and not have to worry about it. Well, they've got spaces set up to bring your knitting and your spinning and stuff, so like we could take our knitting and we can sit and chat, and we can get to meet some of the people that are in the community and spend some time with them.
Yeah.
Like, I need to become best friends with the person at Cloud9 Fiberworks because she is amazing and has the most wonderful yarn ever, and she's local. This has to happen. They're in my neighborhood, man. Like, what? Why don't I know them? I'm the person who makes friends with the coffee barista when I'm getting coffee at Starbucks every other day. Clearly, I need to use those friend-making skills and make friends with people in the fiber community.
And there's...
So good. We're doing some non-fibering events, which is awesome. We got, not this weekend, but next weekend, Icon!
Oh my goodness, that's so close, yeah.
It is so close.
The local anime convention. That'll still be my first anime convention ever.
It is. I'm super excited to take you. I was talking to the guys that I was bringing you down. They're really, really pumped for me to expose more people to anime because it is great and wonderful. And it also means I have a person to randomly sit with me in hallways and knit when I need to take a break.
That works for me just fine.
Yeah, so the knitting is going to go with us for that one.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. It's a thing.
Possibly some on-site recording. I don't know. The sound quality might be horrible.
We'll have to check it out and see what it's like. So we'll play that one by ear. But I'm really looking forward to that. It runs all weekend. It's technically a 24-hour-long convention, which means it doesn't close down. So when it opens Friday, it runs till Sunday.
I'm really pumped for this. Yeah. On the Sunday, I will not be going to the convention.
Nope.
I will be getting on an airplane to go to Vegas.
Yes, you will.
For B-Sides and DEF CON, which are these cybersecurity conferences to be at. Before I am a programmer who wants to learn about cybersecurity, and I know nothing about cybersecurity, so I'm just going to dive headfirst into the biggest convention in the world.
Why not?
I assume it's the biggest convention in the world. It's certainly the biggest one in North America.
Works for me. How do you think I learned about anime? I went to Icon.
So I'm going with a friend of mine, and she is also the sort of person that makes friends with everybody.
Excellent. Those are the best types of friends to have.
So I will be rooming with one of her friends, who happens to be running the lockpicking village at DEF CON, but she also happens to be a knitter.
Woohoo!
So I'm excited to meet this person. She sounds very cool. See if I can get a few minutes of audio for the podcast.
That would be wonderful.
And then our last nerdy endeavor that is not fiber related is Central Canada Comic Con in October.
Which we're still taking our knitting to.
And sewing costumes, theoretically.
Well, that depends on how you're doing when you get home. Oh, Live Bear Fiber Flop. Can you rescue me when we're done recording?
Yes.
I'm just gonna put that down.
We're almost done.
Okay.
That is all our events.
That is all of our events, which is awesome.
Book review.
Because books are your friend.
It's really more of a pattern collection this time.
Well, we do a lot of pattern collections, which makes sense. A lot of knit books are pattern collections.
There's really just patterns in this one. There's no, like, not so much as an introduction. It is a pattern collection. It's not even a book.
Yeah.
So this is Illuminated Lines by, I'm going to butcher this poor person's name, Karen Dimler-Lawrence?
I don't know. I'm so the wrong person to ask. It's a failing I haven't bothered to fix, is what it is. I know I'm not good at it, but I don't work at pronouncing names or words that have different, not mannerisms, different,
Emphasis?
yes, emphasis on them. I struggle with English, not just because I am English and it's not a terribly easy language, but I spent my childhood, which is like that formulative language developing years, so like grade 2 to grade 7, I lived in the Northwest Territories, what eventually became the capital city of Nunavut. People spoke a lot of Inuit around me, which is good. It's different dialect. It is a different language, and they spoke a lot of French from France. French, not like Quebec French. Quebec French was different. So I have that all sort of jumbled in my head, so I don't put the emphasis on the right words in the English. Never mind.
Fair enough.
In other forms, so my brain goes, what?
Well,
try to convince me a Q is supposed to be quiet. I have to actually remember, otherwise I want to emphasize the Q and ignore the C. And the S, because it's very hard. It's like alakut. There are other letters in there, but it's the K, T, Q you emphasize, but in a lot of English language you don't emphasize the Q or the T goes with an H a lot of the times. And then it softens out, where in Inuit it wouldn't soften the T at all.
interesting.
Yeah.
I know, like, nothing about Native American languages.
I am only capable of saying hello and how are you in Inuit now. It has been many, many years, and I can sing parts of the Canadian national anthem in Inuit. That's all I've got left. I've not kept up the skill set practice for it at all.
I mean, in southern Manitoba, it doesn't seem like a super useful skill.
No, I could probably learn Mass Swift's Métis language. As I am Métis, I could do that.
Anyway, book review.
I segued us again. Woohoo!
Drag us back.
Sure.
This is a book out of my pattern collection that I bought from Knit Picks
Absolutely.
during one of their book sales a few years ago.
They do a lot of book sales.
They do.
And they're beautiful books.
Yep. So there were 6 patterns in here?
I didn't actually count how many patterns there were.
I wrote stuff for all of them except one, and I have 5 notes.
Then 6 it is.
Approximately 6 patterns.
Works for me. Do we want to jump into the patterns, or do we want to do a general overview of the book?
Oh, let's start with patterns for a change.
Sure. Flip it up from last week. What was the first one you liked?
Well, I mean, I like all of them.
Okay, which was the first one that you were like, I need to cast this on?
The first one that I needed to cast on is the circlet cardigan.
Me too! Don't get me wrong, the Galloway Pullover, which is like the one before it.
With the cables.
With the cables.
That's what I wrote. That was my note for that one. Cables.
Yeah, it, again, done in like a worsted, or like even in that cloud-borne fiber that I just got in for the other sweater. Because it's got that nice high neckline, that open t-shirt neck that's up nice and close to your neck. And I'm just like, is that not a winter sweater? That's
a perfect winter sweater.
That is an outside, hot cocoa, late fall, the leaves are gone, crisp morning, pull on your sweater and go with your jeggings and your boots. Can you tell I'm a fan of the jegging boot combo?
Nah,
not at all.
Nah.
You get it, it's got the sleeves, and it's got all that detail in it. Do it in a nice tweed. Yeah. Yes.
But that's the one we didn't heart.
No, I've got it liked. I will make it. But I don't, well, that's because we're not close enough to fall yet. We're still in like the depths of summer, so my brain's like, oh god, sweater, no. So warm.
Fair enough.
But we both did like the circlet cardigan. Because it does get cool on some evenings, or if you go to the lake, it gets cool at the lake in the evenings. Any lake, pick a lake.
Lakes are just cool. It's cool in the summer.
Yeah, so that's a thing. I liked it because it was not cabled everywhere, but just had a cable on the top third pattern,
Mm-hmm.
and then it had nice clean lines underneath. So I feel like, yeah, it's got the cable detailing without being cables in your face all the time.
I just don't want to knit cables in my face all the time.
Oh no, I'll knit cables. That's no
Looks
problem.
wise, I like the cables everywhere, but I just don't want to knit it.
That's fair. I like the look of the cardigan. It looked like it was easily extendable for my length.
Yep.
And it has that nice, just clean, it closes up, and it's not got the drapey end pieces on the end of it. It's got nice clean lines around the bottom.
Yep.
And again, it's got that wonderful, interesting circular, because it goes in a circle around the pattern,
Mm-hmm.
cable detailing up around the yoke. No, it's not a yoked sweater.
Isn't it?
Is it the cardigan a yoked sweater?
I don't know.
I know the Galloway Pullover one is. I can't remember. Either way, super pretty. I'm also a huge fan of the color green, so they had me sold on the color green.
It was a very pretty color of green.
It was. The only other one that I liked enough to write down was the glass knot Afghan.
I think that was pretty much the reason I bought the book, was for that pattern.
It's a beautiful pattern.
Oh my goodness, I still want to knit that so bad.
Oh, I'm going to. I am a blanket knitter. I like knitting blankets.
It's squares, so I'll actually do it.
That's what I was thinking. It is a lot more chunked down size, so you can just work on a square or two. Again, not this year, because I'm a square or two a day for the
I feel like
for the crocheting.
those squares are big enough that it would be like a square every few days.
Yeah, that's
But you'd
fine.
still have a blanket in like a couple months.
Yeah, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it, and you could do it in a type of fiber that is, to you, incredibly squishy.
Yep.
And soft feeling, like whatever fiber it happens to be for you, do it in that fiber, and then from there go to town. It'll be wonderful. I mean, I'll do it in an acrylic because that way my mom can use it when she's over.
I think it's an excuse for really exciting gradienty yarns.
That too.
And a solid.
If I knew for sure my mother would never come visit me again, maybe, but my mother comes to visit me, and I like that my mother comes to visit me.
Well,
so
you could just put the blanket away when she comes to visit.
it's entirely possible. I have to explain to her why I got to put away the super pretty Celtic cabled sweater or blanket. She will not understand. I will have to make her own first, and then make one that she can't use. I think that's how that's going to work. My mom is Native American and Irish, so that's where that background comes from. I will not be allowed to get away with. That'd be like knitting something for my dad in the Douglas Klein tartan and then saying no because I made it out of a fiber he can't wear. He'd be so angry. That would not be okay. Be bad daughtering. I'll have to do it out of something that's mom safe first and then do it again. And I mean, I'm clearly proven I'm okay doing patterns twice or more.
Yes. Yes, you have.
It's a good book. I liked the patterns. I'm surprised you didn't pick the bag at the front of the pattern.
Well, I wrote it down. It's not something that I feel the need to make immediately right away, but it's on my radar for if I ever feel the need to make a bag. It's mostly the fact that I'm not really into the bag thing.
That's fair.
But they have the entire alphabet charted in the really fancy letters.
They do. I read the pattern out for it. You can switch it out so it doesn't have to have the lettering. You can have just a different pattern on the inside and on the outsides. So they give you options for it, which is super cool.
I super like all the patterns on it. I'm just not really into making bags, is my only thing.
I was thinking maybe not as a bag, but when you're doing like that, in my case, crocheting or knitting a blanket, taking that pattern chart and scaling it to the square size for the blanket that you're making and making it as your initial marking on the blanket in the corner. Or
Yeah.
for who it's for, if it's a baby blanket and you know the name of the baby and you're giving it after the baby's born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you definitely have some options in that way.
I also hearted the cover pattern, which is the Fia pullover? Fia?
Yeah,
F-I-A.
that's more of a color work than a cable. It is a color work, not a
It
cable.
is a cable. It's color worked cables.
It is color worked cables.
There are images of cables. They're not actually cables, so that's okay.
So, I thought it might be a bit too busy on my frame.
I don't care. I want to wear a work of art.
Duly noted.
If I ever actually make that sweater, it is going to be the thing that I have knit that I am the most proud of.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't give a damn if I don't look good in it. I'm going to wear my art.
Yep. It's not a suit. That's definitely an advanced, intermediate advanced level.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of color work.
I think I can do it. I just have to commit to a sweater, and I just don't want to commit to a sweater right now.
I really believe things are only out of your reach if you've decided they are. If you think you can do it,
the only issue with doing a sweater is I don't have the commitment to do a sweater.
It is, to me, the wrong time of year for a sweater, but I'm going to knit one anyway, because I'm obviously part of a knit-along, so that's fine. But no, I think it's one of those things that, yeah, no, I could totally see you wearing that.
I would absolutely wear that.
Where it's the Galloway Pullover for me all the way. Yeah. Overall, I enjoyed the pattern book. My usual complaints are my usual complaints. God, I wish the charts were bigger.
Bigger charts, darker font.
Bigger charts, darker font, larger font. I found that font kind of small and a little light. So
yeah,
like,
it's pretty light font.
Loved to have been darker and bigger. Those are my normal complaints. That's a vision issue sometimes. Sometimes I don't think it is. I can take it in and I can scan into the computer. I can make the charts bigger. I can make the font bigger and darker and print it out again. It's just an extra step that I'm super happy if I don't have to do.
Makes complete sense.
The photographs are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, there is knitwear photos and there are lifestyle photos. And both of them do an excellent job of making me want to move to Ireland and become a redhead.
Yeah.
I am not moving to Ireland and I definitely don't have red hair. But my goodness, they're pretty. And I'm just like, oh, that's so nice.
I want to travel back to Ireland, and I somewhat recently did dye my hair red.
It's true, you did.
Not like ginger red, though, just for the record. It's like mahogany red.
Ginger red wouldn't have looked that good on you. The mahogany red looks good. But they do a good job. You can see each of the patterns. You can see the stitch detailing and the ones that are made for the shots. You have a very clear idea of what it's supposed to look like when it's done, and you still get sold that idea of living in a windswept, rainy, green, lush Isle of Ireland.
Just hiking along the hills and hearing some, I don't know, some flutes and whatever.
Flutes? Okay, sure.
Dancing around a fairy ring.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
It does an excellent job, and that's one of those ones where, like, yes, that is what photos should be in knitting book. They should sell me on that whole concept and show me what it is I'm trying to make. It's perfect. Wonderful. I loved it. I thought it was a very good book. Definitely worth checking out if you like cables, and more cables.
And just for some contrast, color work cables.
Yeah. Color work cables. There's that beret thingy. The hat thingy.
I'm not into Tams.
Okay.
But it was very pretty.
Some people are. I'm not really big into hats, so.
Tams don't look good on me.
Okay, that's fair.
Berets almost look okay. Tams super don't.
Tams super don't. Okay, that's a thing. But that's our book review. That's it, that's all. Short and sweet and to the point. It was a nice, quick little collection. I don't know how much it retails Canadian.
I don't know, $14.99 US.
Sure, so we're like, what, $18-19 Canadian probably then?
Something like that.
Yeah. It's not too bad. It's a good little collection piece. Again, it's one of those ones I say, hey, check it out. If that's your sort of thing, you're really going to enjoy
also, if you only like some of the patterns, you can buy them all individually on Ravelry, I believe.
Nice.
Or if not on Ravelry, certainly from the Knitpicks website.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Oh, it has been a very warm episode. Oh, we have reached the end, ladies and gentlemen. Diana, my dear, why don't you tell everybody where they can find us?
You can find us on Ravelry, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest as Northern Knits Podcast. Our blog with all our show notes is at northernknitspodcast.com. You can also email us at northernknitspodcast@gmail.com. Jocelyn, where can you be found on the internet?
I'm found on the internet under the name Amber Dragon, spelled Dragun. Sometimes with a 1, sometimes without. I'm the most active on Ravelry, Facebook, and Twitter, though I am coming back to many other places on the web. I will try to make sure all the links are up. I do a lot. I like the internet. I live there. It is my happy home. Diana, my dear, where can I find you on the internets?
I can be found on Instagram and Twitch as Firewater and Fibre. Fibre spelled Fiber. And I am on Ravelry as Wool-Rat.
True story.
I attempt to stream a virtual knit night on Wednesdays.
You do? Well, you're getting better.
I'm getting better. Things are settling down, so. So I stream virtual knit night most Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Central Time.
You can find me in the moderating board chatting away.
Yep. So that's twitch.tv/firewaterandfibre.
It's wonderful.
Links in show notes.
Yay! If you haven't had the chance, the opportunity to, or haven't done so yet, we would love to have a review for you guys on iTunes, on Google Play, on the
it's called Apple Podcast now.
It's called Apple Podcast now?
Yes, we would love for you to rate us on Apple Podcast.
I apologize, I didn't realize the name had changed. And wherever it is that you get this, or give us an email, give us some feedback, join our group on Ravelry. We would love to interact with you guys and see what you're knitting and what you're working on, crocheting on, sewing on, spinning on. Take your pick, we love the fibery things. And essentially just hear from you. But, until next week, I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
Saying no matter where your week takes you, don't forget to knit.